What's up, everybody? It's the Alex Leak and Friends NFL podcast back for another week. I'm your host, Alex Leak, and I'm here to talk to you guys about the post-draft, post-free agency shape of the rosters. What we're looking forward to for the 2019 NFL season. Teams are starting to take shape. Coaching hires are done. GM hires have happened. Even the late ones, the draft happened. And we're going to start in the NFC West with the Arizona Cardinals, who had the number one overall pick. Let's start first things first with Arizona was hiring head coach Cliff Kingsbury out of Texas Tech. I'm not sold on Cliff Kingsbury as a head coach. In college football, his record is 35-40, which is below 500. Now, usually, if you're going to hire a coach out of college, he's one of the most successful ones. You're going to think of, a guy like Dabo Swinney or Nick Saban or somebody like that. But, they went with Cliff Kingsbury, which I guess they believe in his system and the direction that he wants to take the program, the football team. When they hired him, it was with Josh Rosen at quarterback, but I remember saying to everyone when they hired him, we all brought up that quote of Cliff Kingsbury saying if he had the number one overall pick, he would draft Kyler Murray. And so when the Cardinals hire Cliff Kingsbury, it just so happens they had the number one overall pick in this year's draft, and that's what led to all the speculation and the eventual draft pick of quarterback Kyler Murray from Oklahoma. Now, Kyler Murray, a little undersized, but great athleticism, great, real strong arm. Looks like he's got great accuracy, can make any throw. So a lot of hype around the new era in Arizona. And it's not all about the quarterback. I really think I've been critical of Steve Keim in the past. I would criticize him for this head coach hire. But the draft picks that they picked this year, I think, are home runs. I think all the way through. I think Kyler Murray, if you're going to go quarterback and you're going to take Kyler Murray, I would go Dwayne Haskins. I believe he was the best quarterback available in the draft. But Kyler Murray is probably second best. And he's right there, and he's got a very high upside. So I got no problem with the Cardinals taking him. Most people projected Kyler Murray to go that high, so Kyler Murray signs his deal with the Cardinals, 4-year, $35 million guaranteed. So good for Kyler Murray to get paid and be the franchise quarterback for the Cardinals going forward. But speaking of the other draft picks, first let's talk about so they trade Josh Rosen away. Obviously, you can't have two quarterbacks, so they trade Josh Rosen to the Dolphins for 2nd and 5th round picks. It's a little bit confusing because if you look at the Cardinals' plan, last year at this time, they had just traded up in the draft to take Josh Rosen out of UCLA. And he was supposed to be the franchise quarterback. And, he was going to sit behind Sam Bradford for a little bit, learn from him, and then come in. Really not a great rookie year for Josh Rosen or the Arizona Cardinals. And that's what led to this draft pick, the coaching change, and the draft pick. The Cardinals tried to keep it a secret that they weren't going to draft Kyler Murray. But, then they released their 2019 hype video for the team, and they didn't have a quarterback in it. And so when you just drafted Josh Rosen and the rumors were swirling, that made it pretty easy that you can't have Kyler Murray in that hype video, so no Rosen. Josh Rosen said Cardinals GM Steve Keim did not contact him in the months leading up to the draft. So I think Josh Rosen handled this situation with pure professionalism, and he could have easily gotten pissed off, at the Cardinals not contacting him or letting him know what was going on, but he pretty much knew he was on the way out, and I think that he's landed in a decent spot there in Miami, a chance for him to turn his career around, only 1 year, but Rosen needs to show that he can lead a team as soon as possible. He's not going to get too many more chances. But anyways, I got lost in the Rosen talk there for a second. Let's get back to the Cardinals draft picks. In the second round, they take corner Byron Murphy from the Washington Huskies. I like this pick. I thought he would go in the first round. I projected him in the first round. So for him to fall to the second round and the Cardinals to get him, great draft pick there. And you can team him up with Patrick Peterson if Peterson is still on the roster come week 1, which that is yet to be determined, but we'll see. So good draft pick. I think he's a starter, a long-term starter in the NFL. So good pick on Byron Murphy. Another second-round pick is wide receiver Andy Isabella. He's a slot receiver. He reminds me a lot of Julian Edelman, last year's Super Bowl MVP. So there's a lot of great value in a good slot receiver, and Andy Isabella to me has shown solid route running, great hands. So that could be a go-to guy for Kyler Murray. You look at the receivers. Let's skip to the fourth round. You know, they draft Andy Isabella. They also get Akeem Butler out of Iowa State in the fourth round. I love this pick. I think this is great value for the fourth round. I can't believe Hakeem Butler fell to the fourth round. To me, he was a second round at worst wide receiver. I might have even drafted him in the first round. I'm very high on Hakeem Butler. So for him to fall the fourth round and the Cardinals get him, great pick. So Andy Isabella and Hakeem Butler to go with veteran Larry Fitzgerald, who can lead the receiving group and teach them how to be professionals. Not only that, you got Christian Kirk, who's a young wide receiver. So they've got a lot of potential at the receiving spot. In the third round, we had skipped over Zach Allen, defensive end out of Boston College. Another solid pick. I think Zach Allen can have immediate impact in this league. It's all about opportunity with him, but if he gets on the field, I think he's going to be making plays. So, good value for a third round pick. Let's go to the fifth round. Safety Deontay Thompson out of Alabama. I'm not sure how this guy fell to the fifth round. This guy's a hard-hitting safety. I like him. I think he's going to have big impact with the Cardinals as well, depending on how much playing time he gets. He's one of those safeties I want on my team. I'm not going to be mad at taking any Alabama product or Clemson product. And then in the seventh round, tight end Caleb Wilson out of UCLA. Now, not often do we see seventh round draft picks produce in the NFL, but Caleb Wilson, I think, is a guy who can. He's a good pass-catching tight end, so we'll see how that all goes. I'm not going to go as far as Bucky Brooks did, the analyst from NFL Network, and say compare these Arizona Cardinals to the Golden State Warriors. I'm just not going to do it. I don't see Boogie Cousins, Durant, Klay Thompson, Steph Curry, or Draymond on this roster, but I do see a lot of good young talent. So we'll see if the Cardinals can take a major step forward. I give their draft grade an A-. I think that they, if anything, they could have drafted an offensive lineman earlier because their O-line was so bad last year. But besides that, I love their picks. I think they got home run picks. Now let's go back. I was alluding to Patrick Peterson earlier. Former Tampa Bay Bucs wide receiver Antonio Bryant claims to have sources inside the Cardinals building and tweets a picture of Patrick Peterson in a Chiefs uniform, saying that's where he's going to go. But I'm not really buying Antonio Bryant or his sources. He also tweeted right before the draft that the Cardinals were going to take Nick Bosa and not draft a quarterback and stick with Josh Rosen, which turned out to be wrong. I thought it was going to be wrong at the time. I was like, I'm not buying that. So I don't know if Antonio Bryant doesn't know what he's talking about or maybe just his sources in the building are not giving him the best information. Some bad news for the Cardinals is star corner Patrick Peterson, who's probably the best player on the roster, suspended 6 games for testing positive for PEDs. So that's going to be a big loss to start the season. Not having him for the first 6 games of the year, that's going to hurt. Maybe the rookie Byron Murphy can step in, but not having him start the year is going to hurt. My anticipation is the Cardinals will get out to a slow start. I think they'll finish better, but it wouldn't surprise me if this team goes like 6-10, but is trending up. And I think they win like 1 or 2 games the first half of the year, then win like 4 or 5 the second half of the year. So we'll see on the Cardinals. Free agents they added. Tremaine Brock, corner. Max Garcia, guard. Linebacker Jordan Hicks. Guard J.R. Sweezy from, he's out of Seattle, worked with Russell Wilson a lot, so he's already comparing Russell Wilson to Kyler Murray, so we'll see how that goes. They got Terrell Suggs, veteran linebacker. It's going to be weird seeing Terrell Suggs rocking a Cardinals uniform and not wearing the purple and black that he's wore his whole career. So Terrell Suggs bringing some veteran leadership to the defense in Arizona. Backup quarterback will be Brett Hundley. Tight end Charles Clay. And they traded for tackle Marcus Gilbert. So I do think the offensive line has improved. You look at additions of Marcus Gilbert, Max Garcia, and J.R. Sweezy. That's got to help. But they did lose Josh Rosen in a trade, and they lost linebacker/safety Deion Buchanan to the Tampa Bay Bucks. They lost wide receiver J.J. Nelson to the Raiders, and guard Mike Upati to the Seahawks. So yeah, we'll all see how it goes. To be fair, my concerns in Arizona, I got them going to like 6-10. My concerns are not based on, I think that Kyler Murray has weapons around him. I think that he can be successful. But my issues are not on Kyler Murray, and my issues are not on the roster around him. My issues are with the head coaching hire at its core. I think that it wasn't a great coaching hire. I think it was a reach. I don't understand it. I don't think Cliff Kingsbury should be an NFL head coach yet. I think he should still be working his way up the college ranks. Like I said, 35-40 as a head coach in the NCAA. I mean, we all know, you should do better than that. For the people who want to compare and expect the similar results as Kyler Murray to Patrick Mahomes last year, let me remind you to pump the brakes here. He's not going to throw for 50 touchdowns. Let's remember that Patrick Mahomes sat a year behind Alex Smith. He was coached by Andy Reid, who's a great quarterback coach. And Patrick Mahomes had unbelievable weapons around him to work with. The guys like Kareem Hunt, Tyreek Hill, Travis Kelce. So I do think Kyler Murray has weapons, but not quite to the Mahomes level. He doesn't have the coach that Mahomes had, and he doesn't have the luxury of sitting behind a veteran quarterback for a year. He's going to be more than likely starting week 1. So I do have concerns about the Arizona Cardinals. Like I said, I think they go 6-10. I think they are improved. But Kyler Murray's best years may be a couple years down the road with a new head coach. So that's my take. That's the Alex Leak take on the 2019 Arizona Cardinals. And we'll see how they look when we get closer to the start of week 1. Thanks for checking in, guys. And stay tuned for more team breakdowns. Peace out.